Here it is. Good afternoon.
Hello.
I am Dawn from Bang Bang Books.
I'm Elise from Roulette Reader.
And we are book bloggers and librarians. And just a little FYI, if we get distracted or if you hear other things, we're at work. And so sometimes people walk in our office. So that might happen. Just saying. Okay. This is the Small Print Podcast where we podcast books that are coming out the following Tuesday. And today we will be talking about A Madness So Discreet by Mindy McGinnis. And it comes out tomorrow, October 6th. Yeah. All right. Intro? So we do intro?
You want to do the intro?
Okay. I'll give you a brief intro about the book. It is the 19th century and Grace is in a mental institution. She'd rather be in the institution than go home until she has found a way to escape it all. So it's a historical fiction / thriller. And so that's very brief.
Yeah. The rest of the book will be explained in our spoiler edition, which we always do at the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with what we didn't like about the book, then we'll go to what we liked. We'll give it a rating, and we'll talk about what our next podcast is going to be, and we'll talk about another quick book. We call it Quick Thoughts. It's just really quick review of a book that will also be coming out soon, and then we will go right into a spoiler edition. This is the non-spoiler edition right now. All right, so let's go into dislikes.
Well, I'll start off. The whole last 60% of the book was just a straight dislike for me. The beginning was fantastic. The energy was amazing. She had this awesome gothic insane asylum plot going. You could understand the main character. You could sympathize with her, and you were right there on the same page with her. And then it just falls flat. We will go in a little bit more about why that happens in the spoiler edition, but unfortunately for us, the book lost its momentum towards the end. Anything you want to add on that point?
Yeah. Because she does get out of the insane asylum, and that's when it just went downhill from there. When she was there, it was great.
Yeah, the action that she has going for the book is amazing. I mean, whose worst nightmare is it to just end up in an insane asylum?
Yeah.
And especially because she's not, the reason she's there is not really for a mental issue. So she's fully sane, right? Right, and you learn that because it's just shocking. So I'm struggling to kind of be more specific without ruining the book.
Well, I found it to be, it's very pro-woman, but the way that the women deal with their circumstance is deplorable.
Yeah, that did not connect with me. How is this a pro-women book when women are sinking to the exact level of the men that destroy their lives? That did not compute with me. Yeah. There were some logical fallacies in this book that I didn't like too.
Such
as the doctor's sister Adelaide consistently tries to get Grace, who's the main character, to not ignore her emotions. Grace has had to push her emotions aside for so long because of the horrible things that she experienced in her life before she went to the insane asylum. So she's kind of adopted this cold, masked, emotive, lack of emotion in her life. And so Adelaide tells her that she's too removed for her emotions, when in the previous sentence, Adelaide was like, oh, well, my brother and I, we're not emotive either. Okay. No. Those kinds of little things were all throughout this book. Some things with Nell, too, if you want to go into that, like you were saying earlier. I don't know, is that a spoiler?
Yeah, it's a spoiler.
It's a spoiler? Darn, man. Okay. This might be a short beginning podcast.
My first book of McGinnis, I particularly do not like her writing style, so I thought it was a little too metaphorical. You said that
I disagreed.
Starts off that way.
Yes, I disagreed in that. Wait, what exactly did you say about the metaphorical nature, though?
It just came across as inauthentic. I felt like she's trying to be a little bit too philosophical and too deep and insightful. And if that's not the type of writer that you are, then just write the story and stop trying to be this quote-a-rama master, insightful characters and this deep. No, just write the story.
And I completely disagreed. Yes, she's very metaphorical. She's very introspective, but it serves a purpose. So in the first kind of 30% where Grace is in this mental institution, she's alone with her own thoughts. She cannot speak because of the trauma that her brain has undergone. So it makes sense that her thoughts would be over introspective and internal and metaphorical because she's alone in her own head. But I noticed that the writing style kind of changed once she left the insane asylum, because now she was able to regain her voice and actually speak to someone. So the writing kind of tapered off a little bit for me, not in a bad way. I just think that it made more sense. So she kind of comes outside of her own head and is able to resume normal conversation like you would experience in everyday life. And I felt that the writing mirrored that in a really cool way. I've never really noticed that with writing or with novels rather. I felt that Mindy McGinnis really kind of had her writing style emphasize what was going on in the plot. So I thought that was kind of cool. That was a positive for me.
I still didn't like it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get that. I didn't notice that. I just don't like her writing style.
Indeed.
It was annoying.
Okay. So leading into the good.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone can agree that cover is amazing.
Yeah,
that's probably
awesome.
One of the best covers I've seen this year.
Very cool.
And because of that, it will definitely fly off the shelf at the library because of the cover.
I thought the scenes in the asylum were heartbreaking and horrible and horrific, and that really added to the intensity of the plot that I was kind of hoping would carry it towards the end. I totally think that, like, we're young adult librarians, and I can definitely see us getting into some heated discussions about this book with some of our teens who might disagree with us, and I hope that happens. But it just, I don't know. In the beginning, her internal battles like really draw you in, and they let you sympathize. It's off with you really getting kind of bonded with the main character, but I don't know. Yeah. And then I also like Dr. Thornhollow. He was my favorite character. He's kind of like the Sherlockian voice in this novel. He's very cold and not really in tune with his own emotions, but he's very scientific, and he works as a doctor for this asylum in Ohio. So I kind of liked him a little bit better than the main character.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I thought that McGinnis did some good research on asylums in the 19th century. Yeah. It was apparent throughout her writing. So I always appreciate when authors take the time and do their research and kind of, because, we didn't live in the 19th century, and our only way of knowing how it was is through books. And so I think she does give a pretty good representation of, what it was like to be a woman then, and where everybody was kind of concerned with this insane asylum craze, if you will. So, yeah, that's all I said about the good.
That's really all I had too.
Yeah.
All right.
So our rating on my blog, bangbookblog.com, I gave it a 2, which interprets as what in the fresh hell is this? We decided to give our ratings a little bit more
personification.
Yeah. So
I gave it a 3 on my Goodreads, which translates to meh. Not horrible, not great, just meh. Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of our spoiler-free edition. Our next podcast will be October 18th, and we will talk about Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Grodin. It is an historical fiction /
speculative.
Yeah, speculative. Very good. I'll just say that I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, that'll be October, it's not the right date. Yeah, 19th, 1:30 Central Standard Time. And when somebody's about to walk in the door.
Every single time. Okay, no, I don't think he needs this.
So, quick thoughts. I wanted to do a quick thought about the Rose Society, which is book 2 of Young Elites that comes out October 13th, I believe. And like I said, it is book 2 from the Young Elites, and it's basically it comes back to where it left off in book 1, where Adelina and her sister have basically been thrown out by, well, Adelina's been thrown out by the daggers, and her sister has to flee, and they go off to form their own gang called the Rose Society. And her main objective is revenge on Taryn and the daggers for kicking her out. I did not like book 1. I gave it a 3, I think a 3.5, and I was kind of disappointed in book 1 because I really liked the Legend series. I did not like the main character. I didn't like Adelina in book 1, and that is kind of, if I don't like the main character, it's going to be tough for me to enjoy the book. This book I ended up giving it a 4.5 because I think what happens, and I could be wrong, but I think Lou purposely made us dislike the main character. I think it's on purpose. And it comes across quite clear in book 2. Not so much in book 1. Book 2, you're not supposed to like her. And so after I figured that out, which was like 85% into the book, I was like almost at the end, and I'm like, God, I hate this book because I hate this girl. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to like her. Genius, because authors don't do that. No. That's a kiss of death to make your main character unlikable. So the story is great. Her world building is fantastic. The story is great. The characters are great. It's all a really good book.
Would you recommend this series to someone, say, that did not like the Legend series?
Yeah, because it's totally different.
I found Legend boring.
Yeah.
I didn't even read book 2 and 3. I was like, I'm good. I've got what I need. Peace out.
Peace out. The Legend was dystopian. This is fantasy.
Oh,
it's 2 totally different genres.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a try.
She has world building. She has her own world, and it kind of is reminiscent of Italy a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's great.
Okay.
The first book, now that I've said you probably aren't supposed to like Adelina, you might like it a little bit better. But this book is a lot grittier. It's a lot sexier, more mature than her first series. So yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So that concludes Quick Thoughts and our spoiler-free edition of A Madness So Discreet. And we will start the spoiler edition in 5, 4, 3, 2, and here we go.
All right.
Oh,
well.
Man. Okay, Pro Woman. I think that was
our biggest hang up, which is crazy because naturally, obviously, we are women. And we love women, not in that sense, but we want to see...
There's anything wrong with that.
Exactly, but we want to see them... No,
she doesn't watch Seinfeld, guys. Sorry.
I am starting, in my defense. We want to see them succeed. We want to see them accurately portrayed on the page and truly reach their great heights. But she just did not do that in this book at all. And in fact, I had mentioned in the spoiler-free edition that she kind of causes her female characters to sink to the exact level that the men in their lives were. I don't know if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I didn't say that right. But, like, okay, go ahead with the Grace situation with our main character.
Okay, so she is in the asylum because her father put her there because she's carrying her father's baby. And no one's supposed to know that. And so her revenge basically is to set him up for a murder he didn't commit. And I understand that this is the 19th century. What year is it?
It's 1890, I think, according to her Goodreads.
Yeah. And I understand that women didn't have a lot of options as far as redemption and justice, and I get that.
The women's movement had literally just started. Okay. I think some activity had been happening in the 1880s, but yeah, women still had virtually no rights.
Yeah.
So, you know, we could wrap our head around the fact that if you see the chance... Does he need us?
I don't know.
I think so. If you see the chance to take your justice, you do, but... to set someone up for a murder that they did not commit is a little over the line for us. Additionally, throughout the entire book, she has been touted as being this incredibly intellectual person, so smart. She escapes the asylum because of her wit and intelligence. So it kind of fell short for me that she was not able to come up with a more meaningful response to dealing with her justice, to exacting her revenge and justice. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like some people will like that ending, But I just had a problem. I have a problem with books that use vigilante justice in general. I don't like it. I don't think it's a safe concept. And to use that in this book kind of it sets things back. It almost says that they didn't deserve the rights because this is what they were gonna. This is what she does with it. No, that's a little bit of a harsh statement, but still, really no.
And she wasn't the only one. There was a character who she gets syphilis, and so she goes to the insane asylum because of that. And she tries to go and tell the boy who gave it to her, "You gave this to me," and he's just like, "Whatever," and kicks her out. So her revenge is to give all of his male family members syphilis, which doesn't make sense because at this time syphilis is a death sentence. He's going to die anyway. There's no reason for you to give everybody else the disease,
and who had nothing to do with his actions.
Nothing. And then when she's telling her story, all the other women around the dinner table are like cheering her on, and no one at any time, I don't think, says maybe that's not a good idea. They're like, yeah, that's about right. No. And like I said, I understand, that at this time women had no voice, we had no rights. I get that, and you kind of have to do whatever you have to do to get justice. I can understand that, but this is a book for teen girls, essentially. I know a lot of adults read YA, but this is a teen book. And what are you telling teens about being a woman? Is do what you got to do to get what you can get? No, it's like there could have at least been one other person to say, hey guys, maybe this isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
But there never, ever was. And that was my problem. It's just the message that it is sending.
It's not a safe
and
message.
Like you said, it's just sending women right back to 1890. It's like, we couldn't come up with a better solution. This is fiction. Could she have put something else in there?
Right.
She could have put anybody in there. It's her book. She could have done whatever she wanted to.
Right. It did not sit. It didn't translate with me. I didn't appreciate that ending.
That was, and then the whole thing about Grace, she ends up murdering someone. He's a murderer, and her defense was, well, he was going to kill me anyway, and she had no remorse.
So when she's out of the insane asylum, there's these murders that keep happening that she's working with Dr. Thornhallow to solve, and she does eventually find out who the killer is because of her grand intelligence. And so she approaches the guy under a guise of being one of his customers, and she can tell that he is still on a killing rampage because of the way that he reacts to her. It's very in line with the facts that they're finding in the murder scenes. So she gets this brilliant idea that she's going to kill him and frame her father for the murders of the girls that this individual killed. Really? No.
And the girl is lying on the stand. Yeah, he raped me.
Yeah, I did not like that.
Lying on the stand.
I didn't appreciate that. She takes too many liberties.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I don't want to root for the man, for the father, because he's disgusting.
Well,
It's
not about rooting for him. It's just this book is about, it's supposed to be about getting your justice and living in your truth. That's not what ends up happening. Because of the exact resolution of this book. I didn't know. I was like, absolutely not. So, needless to say, the ending kind of ruined it for us, in addition to the fact that the whole middle of the book is really uneventful.
Boring. I thought it was going to be kind of like a Sherlock Holmes,
Watson
thing where they go, yes, we've read those stories to death,
that was really downplayed.
We like those kinds of stories, so let's keep it going. And I thought, now she's Watson and they're going to solve crimes and yay. And
I felt like most of the middle of the book was Elizabeth and Nell. Nell is the girl who had syphilis, who went and slept with all the guy's family to get back at him. It's mostly them talking. And this just got so convoluted because Grace is supposed to be this mute person in front of some people, but she can talk in front of other people. So that just I just got annoyed with that. So it made me not connect to Elizabeth and Nell because Grace wasn't really connecting with them. She's supposed to be having this slate where she writes her responses on this chalkboard slate, but she almost never uses it. Do you remember a single instance where she really uses it other than to tell them that her name is Grace?
No.
Aren't you supposed to be having conversations with these women? No, they were just there talking at her. I found it annoying.
We're about to get interrupted.
So, that's really it.
Okay. Just a second. Never fails.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Just a quick moment.
why don't we wrap it up?
Okay.
Because we're kind of done. Okay. Yes, hold on.
Sure, sorry.
Okay, so that is it for our podcast today. Again, we will be podcasting Wolf by Wolf on October 19th at 1:30 Central Standard Time, and we will see you there.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. And edit.
So sorry.